The storm arrived faster than anyone expected. 1 minute, my 8-year-old daughter, Lily, was laughing in my parents' backyard, chasing leaves across the grass. The next, the sky turned almost black. Thunder rolled across the neighborhood. Rain began hitting the windows so hard that it sounded like handfuls of stones being thrown against the glass. I was still 20 minutes away when my phone rang. It was my mother. I answered immediately. "Mom." Her voice sounded strangely calm. "Your daughter is outside." I frowned. "What do you mean outside?" "She's in the backyard." I sat up straighter in my car. "Why is she outside?" My mother sighed. "She needs to learn." My stomach dropped. "Learn what?" "How to be tough." I could barely believe what I was hearing. "Mom, what are you talking about?" Then I heard something in the background. A child's voice. "Daddy." My heart stopped. It was Lily. She was crying. "Mom, where is she?" "She'll be fine." "Put her on the phone." "You always worry too much." "Put my daughter on the phone." My mother's voice became irritated. "She's 8, not helpless." I looked through the windshield. The rain was becoming heavier. I had spent years in the military. I knew what storms like this could do. I knew how quickly wine could turn loose objects into projectiles. I knew that children could panic when visibility disappeared and thunder became overwhelming. And most importantly, I knew that an 8-year-old had no business being left outside in severe weather. "Bring her inside." My mother laughed softly. "We're teaching her resilience." I could hear Lily crying again. "Daddy, I want to come inside." My blood ran cold. "Mom, she needs to learn that the world won't always protect her." I gripped the steering wheel. "You are not teaching her resilience. You're terrifying her." My mother hung up. I immediately called my father. He answered after 2 rings. "What's going on?" "Where's Lily?" "Outside." "Why?" "Your mother already explained." "Bring her inside." My father chuckled. "You were always too soft." "Soft? You're going to make that girl dependent on you." I stared at the road. "She's 8. "Exactly. She's a child. Children need to learn. Not like this." My father became defensive. "You survived plenty of difficult situations." "I was trained for them." "Exactly. I was trained by professionals." He didn't answer. I continued. "You don't throw an unprepared child into a dangerous situation and call it training. We're not hurting her. You have no idea whether you're hurting her." My father's voice hardened. "You're being dramatic." Then I heard another crack of thunder through the phone. Lily screamed. I nearly lost control of the car. "Where is she?" "In the backyard." "Near what?" "The shed." I knew the shed. It was surrounded by old trees. One of those trees had a large dead branch hanging over the roof. I had warned my father about it months earlier. "Get her away from the trees." My father laughed. "She's fine. Listen to me. I know what I'm doing." "No, you don't." I hung up. I pressed the accelerator. Rain turned the roads into rivers. Visibility dropped. Cars slowed to a crawl. A branch fell across the road ahead of me. I swerved around it. My military training immediately took over. "Stay calm. Watch the road. Don't make sudden, unnecessary movements. Keep distance from standing water. Look for hazards before they become emergencies." But my mind wasn't on the road. It was on Lily, the little girl who still slept with a stuffed rabbit. The little girl who called me whenever she had a bad dream. The little girl who believed adults were supposed to make the world feel safe. And my own parents had deliberately taken that safety away from her. I called my mother again. No answer. I called my father. No answer. I tried Lily's tablet. Nothing. I called again. Nothing. Then I received a message. It was from my mother. "She'll be fine. Stop overreacting." I stared at the screen. I typed one sentence. "If anything happens to her, you'll answer for it." I put the phone down. 20 minutes later, I reached the neighborhood. The power was already out. Streetlights were dark. Water rushed along the sidewalks. Branches covered driveways. A garbage bin rolled across the road and slammed into a parked car. I parked several houses away. The wind was too strong to safely drive closer. I opened the door. Rain hit me immediately. I pulled my hood over my head and ran. My parents' backyard gate was open. That was the first thing I noticed. The second was the sound of Lily screaming. "Daddy!" I ran faster. "Lily!" Lightning flashed. For a second, I saw the entire backyard. My daughter stood near the old shed. She was soaked from head to toe. Her hair was stuck to her face. She was crying. And above her, one of the large tree branches was bending dangerously in the wind. My mother stood beneath the covered porch. My father stood beside her. Neither was moving toward Lily. I shouted. Get her inside. My father yelled back. She needs to learn. I couldn't believe it. Another thunderclap shook the ground. Lily covered her ears. Daddy, I ran toward her. The wind pushed against me. I lowered my body and moved carefully. My military training kicked in automatically. I checked the trees, the roof line, the direction of the wind, the loose branches, the safest path. I shouted, Lily, don't run. She cried. I'm scared. I know. Please. I'm coming. A branch snapped somewhere above me. I looked up. It was falling. I changed direction immediately. The branch crashed onto the grass only a few feet away. Lily screamed. I reached her. I dropped to my knees. Look at me. She was shaking uncontrollably. Daddy, I want to go home. We're going home. I don't want to be outside anymore. You don't have to. I took off my jacket and wrapped it around her. Then I lifted her into my arms. She buried her face against my chest. I'm scared. I know, sweetheart. I tried to be brave. My heart broke. You don't have to prove anything to me. She held onto me tighter. I started moving back toward the house. My father shouted, Don't carry her. I stopped. I turned toward him. What did you say? Put her down. Why? She needs to walk. I stared at him. She's 8 years old and terrified. Exactly. My voice became quiet. You're done. My father frowned. What? You don't get to decide what happens to her anymore. My mother stepped forward. You're making a scene. I looked at her. You left my daughter outside during a storm. We were watching her. Watching her. I pointed toward the fallen branch. That could have killed her. My mother shook her head. It missed. I couldn't believe those words. That's your defense. She folded her arms. Nothing happened. I looked down at Lily. She was still trembling. Something happened. My mother stared at me. She learned to be strong. I shook my head. No. I looked directly into her eyes. She learned that the people she trusted would leave her alone when she was afraid. My father stepped forward. Don't lecture us. I am going to. The wind roared around us. Rain poured from the roof. I held Lily tighter. I spent years in the military learning what real resilience looks like. My father scoffed. And now you think you're an expert parent? No. I looked at him. I think I know the difference between training and cruelty. Silence. Training has preparation. I raised one finger. It has supervision. A second. It has boundaries. A third. And it has a purpose. I looked at the storm. Throwing an 8-year-old outside because you want her to stop being afraid isn't training. My mother looked away. It's abuse. My father became furious. Watch your mouth. No. My voice stayed calm. Watch what you do around my daughter. Another crack of thunder echoed. The porch roof suddenly groaned. I looked up. My military instincts immediately took over again. Move. I grabbed Lily and pulled her away from the doorway. My parents froze. The section of damaged roofing above the porch gave way. Wood and shingles crashed down exactly where my father had been standing seconds earlier. My mother screamed. My father stumbled backward. For a moment, nobody spoke. I looked at the wreckage, then at my parents, then at Lily. She was staring at me. Daddy, yes. Can we please go inside? I nodded. Yes. I carried her through the door. Behind me, my father stood speechless. My mother looked at the collapsed porch. The storm continued outside. But inside that house, something else had collapsed. The belief that my parents could do whatever they wanted and call it love. I took Lily to the living room. She was still shivering. I wrapped her in 2 blankets and sat beside her. She looked up at me. Am I in trouble? My heart broke. No. But Grandma said I was weak. I brushed wet hair away from her forehead. Being scared doesn't make you weak. What does? I smiled. Knowing you're scared and asking for help. She looked at me. So I was brave? The bravest person here. She hugged me. And while the storm raged outside, I made a decision. My daughter would learn courage. She would learn discipline. She would learn how to survive difficult situations. But never again would someone confuse cruelty with strength. Not while I was her father. The storm lasted for hours. By midnight, the rain had become a steady roar against the windows. The electricity was still out, and emergency crews were moving through the neighborhood. I sat beside Lily on the couch. She was finally asleep. Her hair was dry now, but every few minutes she stirred whenever thunder shook the house. Each time, I checked on her. Each time, I whispered, I'm here. My parents were sitting across the room. Neither had spoken for several minutes. Finally, my mother broke the silence. You've made this into something it wasn't. I looked at her. What wasn't it? A lesson. I glanced toward Lily. You left an 8-year-old outside during a severe storm. She wasn't alone. I stared at her. You were standing on the porch. We were watching her. You were watching her cry. My mother looked away. My father folded his arms. She needs to learn that the world isn't always going to be comfortable. I nodded slowly. You're right. He looked surprised. I am. Yes. I pointed toward Lily. The world won't always be comfortable. Then I looked at him. That's exactly why parents are supposed to prepare their children for it. He frowned. She'll never become strong if you keep rescuing her. I shook my head. You don't understand what strength is. My father laughed. Apparently you do. I spent years learning it. I stood. I've been in situations where people were injured, exhausted, terrified, and completely overwhelmed. My father remained silent. And do you know what we did? What? We didn't throw them into danger and tell them to figure it out. I pointed toward the window. We trained them. I raised a finger. We taught them. Another. We prepared them. Another. And when something went wrong, we helped them. My mother looked at me. That's different. No. My voice remained calm. It's exactly the same principle. She shook her head. You can't protect Lily forever. I don't intend to. That surprised her. I intend to teach her how to protect herself. My father leaned forward. Then why are you so angry? Because there is a difference between training and cruelty. Nobody answered. I continued. You wanted her to become fearless. I looked at Lily. Instead, you taught her that fear means she has to face danger alone. My mother's expression softened. That wasn't our intention. But that's what happened. She began crying. I love her. I know. Then don't take her away. I looked at her. I'm not taking her away. I paused. I'm protecting her. My father stood. You're overreacting. I turned toward him. If I had arrived 5 minutes later,